What is up? What is up, YouTube? This is the Skynet Gen Network, and today I am going to be reviewing Salem Season 2, Episode 3, entitled From Within. So, in this episode, the scene we first see a girl approaching a well. She's hearing these children's voices around, and she's like, "Where is this coming from?" So she decides to look down the well, which this is where the voices seem to be coming from. So she chooses to pull the bucket up from the well. So as she's doing that, she slowly pulls the bucket up, and out of nowhere, this hand comes out of the bucket, grabs her, and pulls her down into the well. So that's the end of that scene. That is the intro. So we are then taken to a scene in Salem where a villager is protesting. He wants his wife, who is being accused of a witch, to be released from a cell. Because first of all, he doesn't think she's a prisoner. She's not a well. He doesn't think that she is a witch, and second of all, the other prisoners in the cell have the pox, so he's afraid that she's going to catch something. So meanwhile, Wendell Hawthorne comes over there to kind of settle things, and he's like, "We can't do this. We're not going to be releasing her. She's being accused of a witch, and we can't be giving everyone their own cell. What is this?" And then Mary shows up, and she's like questioning, why, who are you to be saying anything? You're not even magistrate, But Wendell Hawthorne he wants to be magistrate, and he's acting as if he already is magistrate. Now, there is no magistrate in town, so they're looking for a new one, and Hawthorne wants to be the new one, so he's like, well, there's no magistrate. I feel like I'm capable of being the new magistrate, so why don't you just make me magistrate and get it over with? Because no one else seems to want to become magistrate anyway. And Mary's like, thinking, there's no way in hell I'm making this guy magistrate, because, he's just going to be in the way of her completing the grand rite. So she's like, you know what, we'll have a vote. And so by doing this, she's like, okay, we will have a vote at my house. We will gather the selectmen and have them over for dinner. So she's planning to handpick someone to oppose Hawthorne, because right now no one's opposing him, and if no one's opposing him, then Hawthorne is going to become the new magistrate, and that's just not going to work for her. So, and during this whole confrontation where she's talking to Hawthorne, this guy Corwin is standing there, so she ends up taking him and going to church, where she privately speaks with him, and she's kind of mad at him for not saying anything, not sticking up for her or anything, and not saying that he wanted to run for magistrate, even though she never told him, if you're in this situation, you're running for magistrate. No. So she's kind of mad that he didn't say anything, but he's like, well, I didn't know, so she's like, whatever, you're running for magistrate. So while this is happening, she's secretly talking to him in the church. John Alden is hidden, like, in the shadows. He's eavesdropping. He's like ninja-like. He's just appearing in random places. So then we're taken to the scene. Well, actually, no, before that happens, when Mary's leaving the church, she looks up at the second floor where John Alden was, and she kind of felt like someone was watching her. So she looks up, there's no one there. Again, he's ninja-like. Just disappeared already. So then we're taken to the scene where Mercy's father, the Reverend, runs into Dolly, who is Mercy's old friend. And Dolly, she feels sorry for the Reverend's loss. She's like, oh, Mercy was my true friend. And the Reverend says, well, let's see how much of a true friend you really are. And, he takes her to see his daughter, who's alive. We see that in, what was it, episode 2? I forget, I think it was episode 2, yeah. where Mercy is alive. She comes to her father's doorstep and she's like, "Hello, father, I am here. Can you recognize me or something? So she's deformed. She's burned. She looks very demon-like. So when Dolly sees her, she's like really scared, and out of this fear, she chooses to help help Mercy do whatever it is that she wants to do, which in her case is get back at Mary and pretty much kill her. Because not only, well, Mercy always hated Mary, and now that she burned her alive, you know, she especially wants to kill her. Um, so yeah. Meanwhile, Anne and Cotton Mather are heading back to Salem after they're coming from Boston. So remember, Anne Hale went to her house. She killed her parents. Eventually, she returned back to her parents' house. Again, she killed her parents because she couldn't control her powers as a witch. Um, so she sees her father's old witch teleportation mask. She puts it on. She's magically teleported to um, Cotton Mather's house in Boston. She doesn't know how she got there. I mean, why? I mean, I don't know why she got there. Like, of all places, because usually she got teleported into the woods. And then she convinces Cotton Mather to come back to Salem, even though he's been vanished. But anyway, they're on their way back. They're stopped by these guards in front of Salem, because I'm assuming they're guarding so no one, no one enters Salem, because, there's enough going on. They don't need more intruders in, more disease, I guess, spreading, or so they think. So they stop him, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And Cotton's like, "Oh, we're here to talk to Mary." And, eventually they recognize that that's Cotton Mather. And they're like, "Get him!" And there's this little fight going on, and eventually Cotton Mather's busy trying to fight off one guy. Another guy's trying to force himself on to Anne. Anne eventually uses her powers out of rage and kind of like just launches the guy up in the air. We don't see where he lands, Eventually, Mather beats up the other guy, and he turns around to help Anne, but she's already, she doesn't even need any help. She's like, "Where'd the other guy go?" She's like, "Oh, he must have ran off, this guy got scared." So he doesn't question that. He's like, "Oh, okay." So they're on their way back to Salem. What else? So then we're taking the scene where the girl who went to the got pulled into the well. She reemerges from the well. She doesn't seem to be different. It doesn't really look like anything's happened to her. She does seem more focused, though. What's it called? Then we're taken to the scene where Mary's checking up on Isaac. The doctor then decides to show Mary his research, and Mary's like, "Well, the magistrate's wondering, why are you here? Like, he's questioning whether that you are here to cure the pox or you're doing some other experiments, with, and so he shows him her research. He's showing that he's trying to cure the pox, but at the same time he's searching for the meaning of for divinity, the signs of divinity, searching for souls, and he demonstrates on Mary how a soul can escape someone's body. He tries choking her and showing that feeling when someone's choking you is your soul leaving the body. At the same time, he's trying to seduce her, because he kind of has a thing for her. She might have a thing for him. I don't know. So then we're back to the scene with the girl from the well. She's walking through Salem. She stops by Mary's house, and there's a water box on the outside of the house, and she throws up into the box, and which is the water box, which the water is used to retrieve water to wash your clothes or take a bath in. A servant usually would take a bucket, fill it with water from the outside, bring it into the house, fill the tub up with water or whatever, and that's how you would use it. So the girl throws up in there. Meanwhile, Mary's upstairs. She's trying to convince George to make an appearance at the house when they're gonna have the magistrate over and the selectmen. She convinces him because she's like, you know, your old rival is here. He's had a problem with Hawthorne in the past, and she's like, do you want to save your name, your family's legacy? You're not gonna allow this guy to take control of this town. You have to show that you're still in control, even though he's not in control. But, he really doesn't have an option. She still has control over him. So during that meeting, George agrees okay. So during the dinner, Hawthorne is surprised to see George. He's talking, he seems perfectly fine. But he's still in a wheelchair though. And he's coughing a little bit. So while they're waiting, they're eating dinner, they're waiting for the other guy to show up so they can discuss the vote. Corwin never shows up. So, Magistrate begins to get impatient. So we learned that John Alden has gone up to him. I don't know if Hawthorne is a witch or he's been spelled by Mary to appear like a witch. I don't know. Because he's walking in Salem and we see him leaving footprints on the ground, but he's invisible. But John Alden sees this and he stabs him on his foot. He becomes visible again and he's like, oh, you're a witch. Oh. But he kind of knew. He kind of was waiting to kill him. He just needed to find the perfect timing. And he tortures him and trying to find answers. The guy doesn't want to say anything. Mary and Tituba, another witch, are like, where is this guy? So they decide to check up on him, and they see he's been tied up. He's being tortured. They can't see who's torturing him. The guy's good. Whoever's torturing him is good. They're not showing their face. They're not doing anything that can give a hint on who they are. And they pretty much do a ritual to kill Corwin before he says anything. So John Alden sees that this guy getting killed. He bites his own tongue off and eventually just starts foaming in the mouth. He ends up dying. They're like, oh crap, someone's coming after us. So with no one being no one's running against Hawthorne to fill the seat as magistrate. Hawthorne's like, wow, I automatically become magistrate. And Mary can't argue with this, and he becomes the new magistrate. Meanwhile, Isaac is kidnapped by Dolly and Mercy's father, the Reverend, at the hospital, I guess, or you want to call it, a little medical wing. So then we see that Mary is about to take a bath. The assistant brought water in using the water from the box that was, where the girl threw up in. And we realize that the water has been spelled. We see that Countess Marburg is attacking her by trying to drown her, or so it appears. We then see Mary kind of re-emerge out of the water of the tub. Her lip is bleeding because Marburg bit her lip as a taste of her blood, to taste her blood, I guess. And so Mary's unaware of what's in store for her. She's like, what the hell's going on? Who's keep on attacking me? Now she assumes that only one person is doing this to her. In reality, we have 3 people who are trying to kill Mary. John Alden, Mercy Lewis, and now this Countess Marburg, who is this old, powerful witch. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next episode. Make sure to tune in to watch. This was a pretty decent episode. A lot of things happen in this episode. So this is definitely if you're going to watch the series, you must watch this episode because a lot of things happen. So this was a pretty good episode. The season continues to be good. I recommend watching it. This is episode 3 of the second season, so I believe there's 13 episodes in the first season, so 3 episodes here. It's worth checking out. So be sure to watch my next video. I will be reviewing episode 4, entitled The Book of Shadows. Should be interesting to watch. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe below, and as always, you know, watch next week. We'll see what kind of craziness happens on this show. This show is pretty, starting to get a little unpredictable because it's not based on true events anymore, from what it seems like, or very little is based on true events. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next episode, and I hope you join me in finding out next week. So until then, I will see you.